Hey there, Sank, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of the Marhaba Crypto Show. As always, you guys got myself and Moby Sadiq as my co-host. Moby, what's going on? The market's coming back up, but before all the market stuff, how's life?
Yeah,
How's the kangaroos? Are they hopping?
yeah, the kangaroo's okay. I wouldn't know. I haven't seen one in about a year. But the market's kind
Hmm.
of like it's just a tease right now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It gives you a little bit, takes a little bit, gives you a little bit, takes a little bit, and on that you have to be careful. You have to be, I'm not being a controversial type of person here, but there's often manipulation that happens in all markets as well. So often these things are done on the back of relief rallies, people trying to get their bags out. So you have to be careful. But yeah, there's always we can talk about that in a moment where we are at the market, but there's always money to be made in a market like this. That's for sure.
Talking about the market and all that stuff. But to start off the show on a lighter note, speaking about kangaroos, there was somebody in Saudi Arabia that brought a kangaroo over, then sacrificed it and made, I think, a mundi with kangaroo, and was charged, I think, 200,000 reals. So yeah,
What did he
man,
make? A mundi?
pure Mondays like this meat fat drips into the rice, and it's a soft, raised, juicy
Oh,
meat.
okay.
So there's a video on this online, so check it out. It's pretty funny because the way the guy gets charged and everything. It's at the ending gets funny. I know it's sad for the whole animal stuff, at the ending when he gets charged, it's hilarious. Okay, anywho, let's get this thing started. What's going on with the market? I think people are very interested knowing what's the exciting stuff, what should we stay away from, and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get straight into it. I can't wait for the Mufti this week. I think we've got some exciting stuff to discuss with him. So I'll get cracking
Hmm.
so we can get him on. That should be a lot of fun. Look, but if I just kind of go onto my screen here, apart from the last few days, honestly, like Bitcoin and total crypto market cap hadn't actually done an awful lot. So like when you look at the numbers, you like it can be slightly misleading. You look at total crypto market cap, and we're back to what 1.7 trillion right now. That's off our low of 1.4 trillion, right? And we had
Hmm.
1.5 trillion just not too long ago. So now sort of 1.5 is serving as a little bit of support right now, which is good to see. And really, really we shouldn't really get too excited until the total crypto market cap is over 2 trillion. Just to keep it really simple and easy for you guys, that's where we sort of want to see crypto right now. So 1.7 trillion right now is where we're hovering. But you need to be quite cautious because not a lot has actually changed. And I want to kind of keep last 2 weeks. I did a lot of analysis around why I believe we're in a bear market, the key levels. I'm just going to touch on that briefly today. I don't want this to turn into a negativity thing. And I've noticed, like, it's so funny, right? I've noticed if I look at the stats of our shows, the ones where we're talking about get rich and make money, like they're the ones that sort of tend to do really well. Like when we're talking about like the dips and whatnot, no one cares. But that's when you guys should care. Like that's when you guys, the money to be made is during bear markets. The education that you're
Hmm.
learning and picking up these little gems that you pick up from us every week and other sources, you need to learn that now. That's where riches are grown, not FOMO, right? We've said
Hmm.
this a billion times in the past, and forgive me if you've heard this, but you kind of need to do what the opposite is doing. You know what I mean? Like you have that quote, Ahmed, be greedy when people are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. It's like a Warren Buffett quote, I think you shared. That remains
Hmm.
true. So guys, like be cautious, be smart, be outside of that curve that only looks at Bitcoin. We get excited when it's 60K and no one gives a damn when it's 20K, right? But
Hmm.
on that note, like Bitcoin is up 9% over the last week, which is really good. Like I said, it's been the
Hmm.
last couple of sort of days where things are happening. Honestly, for a new, so just so you guys don't, I want to give you guys a few levels to think about, right? For us to get really excited, the next level we need to move above is this 38,400 level. We're at about
Hmm.
38,000 of recording, so it's not too bad. But then we need to break that 39,000, 41,000 level. So as an investor, you may not look at this stuff and you maybe shouldn't care, to be honest, about these levels. But if you wanted to know why charting is good, and I've said this before, even as an investor, charting levels is important because it's better to buy off support than resistance. It's better to buy off a point of a resistance. Like if we were about to hit 60K, I'd probably say, guys, look to take profits. Don't look to buy right now. That's why it's important. So just to kind of remind you guys, 38,400 by the time this is recording, that might already be there. We need to move above that. And really, we need to break that 39,000, 41,000. If you want to sort of keep it simple, we need to close above 40,000 on a few daily candles, right? But really, that's probably, if that does happen, I believe it might be short-lived, because there's a lot of, like, not a lot has changed about, since the uncertainty I spoke about with the Fed and whatnot. Speaking of, last week we spoke about, I'm showing my chart again, Ahmed. If you remember that chart that I shared where I showed all those key things like China, Fed tapering, and all those kind of drop-offs. And the last one I annotated on my chart was Russia seeks to ban crypto. Funnily enough, on the 27th, 3-4 days ago from today, Putin actually came out contrary to that. So Putin actually came out and said, just sharing an article here, Putin backs crypto mining despite Bank of Russia's hard line. You guys need to realize that central banks are not always, like, they often run completely outside of the executive branch. Most banks in the world are central banks, and they do whatever they want, right? You can read into that. You can go down conspiracy theory YouTube videos for 4 or 5 hours at 1 o'clock at night. I haven't done that. Not for about 10 years. I haven't done that. But the point is, whatever it is, it can be contrary to what the nation head of state is trying to do. And Putin has come out, sort of said, you know what, there is a lot of benefit. They actually like the fact, Putin likes the fact that they're amongst the top 2 or 3 countries that actually mine Bitcoin. So you have to be careful when you sort of see this noise. Is this a real fundamental shift, or is it some party in, I guess, the ecosphere of financial markets that's trying to manipulate the markets, right? You need to look at what the rich are doing, like what's the big money doing? Follow the big money, which is what I'm going to talk about today. So moving on. So speaking of strong fundamentals, Willy Woo, who's a really good analyst. If you're on Twitter, you should be following him. The last week or so, he's been sharing a lot of institutional data, right? So net inflows and net outflows, like the inflows and outflows of Bitcoin. So common sense dictates when there's a lot of Bitcoin entering, like a Binance, or a coin spot or whatever it is, people looking to sell. When it's leaving, obviously people looking to hodl. And what we're seeing right now is institutional demand. Possibly we are. This is not a causation, so correlation. Possibly institutional money, probably institutional money, because that's the big money, is moving, to Wales, and it's leaving exchanges again. So that's quite bullish, right? So these things often precede pumps. Which is a nice thing to see. So moving on, I did talk about actually, like, if you guys remember, and I did actually go back to one of our episodes, the first episode this year, we did say, we didn't know exactly what this was going to happen, but we did see already in November, December, Fed tapering, interest rates, inflation. Like, that's why, I know sometimes it's boring and you just want us to get to the charts, but that's why we look at that. That's why in that first week, and you can go back to the episode, I said we are going to have sideways action for 3 to 6 months. We knew that already, right? So you need to get when there's days like this and you have some profits, take profits, have that dry powder ready for the inevitable dips that are definitely going to come. So obviously it's definitely a bit of a mixed bag right now. The US did come out this week and say they're looking to regulate crypto. They're worried about financial security, the ability to impact financial markets, and the security of the US markets and the US dollar, which is a little bit of a worry, because that means that they are trying to control crypto. They are trying to specifically own and give back ownership of stable coins to banks. So that is something to be careful of. I wouldn't hold too many bags of USDT. Something like USDC is a little bit more safer, because it is in the realm of the financial system and banks of America. But at the same time, right, we see this contrary information. At the same time, a bill has been put forward in Arizona to make Bitcoin legal tender within the state. Is this going to happen? Probably not. This executive order that Biden is talking about this week, it's probably going to make that not happen. But the point is, it does tell you why they are scared, why they want to be in control of these markets. It does tell you it's actually a good reason to be bullish when it comes to sort of crypto. So moving on, one way to sort of look at this is, thinking about what's actually happened and where is Bitcoin going, like what's the price projections. Now, what I'm sharing on my screen right now, Ahmed, is a tweet that I shared how the top cryptocurrencies performed in 2021, so a year ago. So when you look at Bitcoin is still up 59%. Ethereum is up 400%. Cardano, we can talk about Cardano a little bit later. That's the new coin I love to sledge, is up 621%. Solana up a crazy 11,700%, right? So when you see those figures, it makes it believable. It makes Cathie Wood a little bit more believable when she says Bitcoin is going to go to $1 million and Ethereum will hit $180,000 by 2030, right? And the justification around that is right now, Bitcoin is only a fraction of the value of global assets. A $1 trillion market cap or whatever it is still a very, very, very small percentage. And when you consider all the institutions that are investing, that's what they're basing that off. And on the Ethereum side, Ethereum right now has a supply of 120 million, but once it merges to proof of stake, that's going to be closer to 110 million by the end of the decade. And based on that, just based on that deflationary economics of Ethereum, that's where they're getting that 180,000. So I had a discussion, we spoke about this before, Ahmed. I had a discussion with someone yesterday at a barbecue. They're talking about how Ethereum is slow, but the gas fees. I'm like, I get it, but Ethereum's not made for me and you, right? Like the institutions, and you're going to see more evidence of this, the institutions that are backing Ethereum, they can't risk it on like a Solana for their big, finance markets, right? Where it goes down for 48 hours. They can't do that. They need something secure. They need the liquidity that Ethereum provides. We know Ethereum is crap. We know it wasn't built the right way to begin with because we didn't know the demand that was going to happen. We know that. But it has first mover advantage. It has liquidity. It has investments, and it is almost too big to fail. So Ethereum is one of those store of value plays. You're not going to get rich by buying one Ethereum today, but you're certainly going to beat inflation of 7, 10, 12%. So that's why I continue to hold my Ethereum. That's why I'll never sell the Ethereum that I have, right? On the point of Ethereum as well, you look at the holders, of Ethereum, right? So the number of holders with at least one Ethereum has reached an all-time high. So put another way, obviously, there's never been more holders of one Ethereum than there has ever been today, right? And Ethereum is locked up for a long time. So speaking of Ethereum, is it a good time? Is it a bad time to buy? So when you look at Ethereum right now, we're sitting at around 2,573. Of course, we had that little rally. We had 2,900 was strong support for a very, very long time, and we broke that. So that is now the strong resistance. We need to flip that. Now, if you were looking to buy Ethereum right now, not financial advice, if you're looking to hodl, right, you're looking for those safe, stores of value, it's not the worst time to get in. If I go onto the 4-hour chart right now, you guys can see the RSI is in that bullish territory between this line and the middle line. The Wolfpack ID, which looks at the MACD, is green, so that's bullish. And you can see these nice green, Japanese candles. So Ethereum probably won't see a lot of resistance until 2,900. So another, $400 away. Again, not financial advice. And if it hits that, there is no guarantee that it won't fall to $1,000, which is the worst case projection that a lot of people are saying, 900 or so US dollars. But if you're holding for 10 years like I am, you don't care about that, right? Yeah, something to be mindful of. On the Ethereum side, like I said before, right? Like you see Mastercard focusing on increasing Ethereum network scalability in 2022. It's too big to fail. You have Mastercard, you have these other institutions now that have a vested interest to help Ethereum to scale. So they are focusing. I've spoken about scalability before, but like now you're seeing other institutions like Mastercard focusing and helping Ethereum. Not Solana, not AVAX, not those other ones, because that's where they have too much vested interest right now. They don't care about $100 gas fees to transport $1 billion. They don't care about that, right? I spoke about Solana earlier. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but Solana did have their outage of 48 hours last week. And it wasn't really an outage. It was just a really sort of slowdown. And I'm just sharing this for point of comparison. Why? Just to kind of get into your heads. Yes, Ethereum sucks, but it's not made for you and I. It's made for the people who are too big to fail. Something to keep in mind of. Speaking of Ethereum, of course, this is my little segue to the metaverse. We've spoken in the past about focus on things that people aren't focusing on, right? So Ethereum NFT game, the Sandbox, launches $50 million metaverse accelerator. Now, this is really, really good news because people have been talking about the fact that Sandbox right now, what's the other one, Ahmed? The other one, you got Sandbox and Mana.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
No, I think Mana is, yeah, Sandbox and Decentraland.
Yeah, Decentraland. Thank you. So Sandbox, Decentraland, they're the two big ones right now. If you had to ask me which one's the better play, I'd probably say Sandbox, just because of the team behind it and the investment happening in it right now. It probably nudges over the other. But everyone forgot about Sandbox. Everyone was looking at $4, $5, and no one cared when it went to $2. So this is one of those things, right? So right now there's an accelerator. Why is this good news? Because they're calling it kind of like, digital cobwebs right now. Like, not too much is happening. So they're actually launching this accelerator to get startups to invest in the metaverse and build in the metaverse. So you'll notice a little bit of a cycle. You'll see a pump, right? Then you'll see a slowdown and no one wants to talk about it anymore, right? And then you'll see some fundamental news like this, and then you see a rally. History repeats itself. This is going to happen again and again and again because the positive news cycle can't always stick around. So we had this thing here, right, with the Sandbox. Then we had this other article, Sand up 40% after it partners with Snoop Dogg and Warner Music. Obviously big names, right? This other article here, that Fidelity seeks approval for 2 or more crypto metaverse ETFs. Now, these things happen in very close succession. It goes bang, bang, bang. Like, these are all articles, the last week this has happened, and then you get that pump. Is someone trying to make money? Is someone trying to manipulate? Who cares? It doesn't matter. But you're going to see this cycle: pump, slow, fundamental rally. So if that's the case, and the metaverse isn't going anywhere, and it clearly isn't, guys, then when people go back to layer 1s and layer 0s again, right now no one's talking about Cosmos, right? Cosmos has been down, it's been sitting under $30. That's when I've been investing in Cosmos. That's what I've been doing in the last week. Right? And whenever the attention goes back there and Cosmos goes to 40, I'm not going to touch it. Maybe I'll look at metaverse plays, right? So that's how you guys need to think about it. Now, in terms of, you guys, I like to talk about price entries when I talk about fundamentals sometimes. Right now isn't the worst thing. So if I kind of go back to my charts here, you can see we broke this $3.43 resistance, which was resistance we had to break. It was it was a 79% retracement level, and we've broken that. And then now the next resistance level is $4.15. So if you can get in, if you're looking for a trade or a flip, it's not a bad time to get in and flip at $4.15. Me personally, I'd probably look for that level to break and go down again, for that to retrace again. We are at that oversold territory on the RSI. So for me, I'm not in Sand right now, complete disclaimer, but I'd probably look for it to go back to around sort of $3. But long-term hold, it's not a bad time to look into it, not financial advice. I want to talk about Solana. I haven't, guys, it's not that I flipped on Solana. It might sound like that if you've listened to me last few episodes. I sold half my Solana, I've kept my other half. And I sold half my Solana because I bought it at really cheap, and I sold it at 140 US. And then I moved that into Cosmos, and I moved some of that into AVAX, into places where I know in the next 6 months there's going to be probably likely a lot more upside than downside, right? But Solana is still really, really strong. Like, it's not a bad idea to look at Solana right now when it's getting, smashed a little bit. Just this week, Solana Labs CEO reveals plans for upgrades. And I know that's what everyone sort of says. That's what Charles Hoskinson said when Cardano hit, when it broke, because they launched Sunday Swap, their first DEX. The difference is Charles Hoskinson always says that. He always says that. These excuses get cold and tired. Where Anatoly, the CEO of Solana Labs, they are a really, really, really good team. They are a better team than Cardano is, right? And nothing has suggested otherwise when this guy, says something that, he's is not genuine. So that's, good stuff. Leaked images also suggest that this is even more bullish news, that Solana is coming to Opensea, which is huge, is absolutely huge. Opensea, obviously ETH heavy, it's all ETH. The fact that Solana is coming to Opensea, maybe coming into Opensea, there's a high likelihood, is very, very bullish. And the third quick rapid fire one I want to talk about is Rally backer super layer to bring social tokens to Solana. Raoul Paul is a huge believer of social tokens. He's a huge proponent of social tokens. He thinks it's the next wave after metaverse. That may or may not be true, but they are also moving to Solana, so which is really interesting. Real rapid fire. I want to talk about 3 articles really quickly. Big tech. Tim Cook says Apple metaverse potential. Apple is investing in the metaverse right now, so probably more related to my metaverse component, but nonetheless very, very important. Google Cloud hiring team of blockchain experts. And finally, YouTube hints at potential NFT integration. So YouTube, Google, Apple, Fidelity. Guys, when I say it's not going away anywhere, it's probably not going away anywhere. So when people forget about metaverse again, that's when maybe you should be thinking about it. And I'm going to do better at talking about, things that have gone cold that people are not talking about, which is why I think maybe you should look at Cosmos Hub right now. Now, Mufti, if you're around, I want you to get ready because I want to bring you in. Guys, if you remember 3 weeks ago, I think it was 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, we had the Mufti, 2 weeks ago. Okay. We had the Mufti come on and we were talking about TIME Wonderland. Is it halal? Now, if you watched the interview and you saw like the questions I was asking, I'm like, oh, what if someone has already invested in it, right? Very smart readers of human, impression would probably realize that, oh, maybe Moby has TIME Wonderland. And if you had guessed that, you would have been right. I'm only human. I didn't know that much about it. I thought it was okay. We had the Mufti come on. And Ahmed, you remember this. In the episode, whilst the Mufti was talking, I actually I unstaked my time. And after the episode, I sold it. And time was sitting at $2,200. So if you don't mind, if you could quickly have a look at what it is today. I looked at it yesterday. It was like 340 US while I'm talking. If you can quickly bring that up. So it went from 2,200 or 2,400 US to... It just fell on its butt. So, I'm showing an article here, time slipped 61% because the alleged the admin, one of the guys of the team, was the co-founder of Quadrix, I don't know how to say it, it's a probably French thing.
Quadriga GX.
Quadra GX. If you guys remember, a lot of people lost money with this exchange. A lot of people. And this guy, who's now part of the TIME Wonderland team, he was a co-founder of that. So that was the final kind of death, hammer in the hammering the nail into the coffin. It was already on the downside, right? So on that note, I want to say salams to the Mufti, bring him in. And Mufti, what are your thoughts? I also shared this tweet that it's not on screen anymore, but it was from yesterday that, they're looking to wind down Wonderland now. So after that article I just shared, let me go back for one split second. They're looking for an improvement proposal to actually wind down TIME Wonderland, which is absolutely huge. And I remember I shared that with you. So what are your thoughts on that? Like we've spoken about it pays to be halal, but what did you think when you found out that news?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everybody. I think I was, first of all, I was quite shocked because 2 weeks ago we were talking about it and it was meant to be so marvelous. Everybody was rushing into it. Even I remember at the time in the video, I mentioned that the fact that I'm saying that TIME Wonderland might not be halal, and there are people that might not going to be happy with what I'm saying because of the amount of return that is giving us an opportunity. But I think there are a couple of things we can learn from this. I mean, first of all, I would say that, look, when you invest in a halal manner, whether you're doing a halal job, so even if it's a halal job as an employee, or whether you are investing, okay, you put your money somewhere as an investment, or whether you're doing trading, you're buying and selling things in a halal manner, yeah? Obviously, as a Muslim, our aim should always be to seek the pleasure of our Creator, our Lord, and to abide by His rules. Now, we hope that by doing that, by seeking His pleasure, etc., then we hope that He's going to reward us, whether it is in this world or the hereafter. Sometimes, we always say, oh, invest in halal, you will get barakah, you will get blessing. Blessings can come in many, many forms.
It's
It
not
can
always this
come,
clear, is it? Yeah.
it's not always clear. Blessing can come in this world or the hereafter. If it is in this world, then, it in the mean of high amount of return in what you're doing. So if you're doing an investment or trading, you will get a huge amount of money. Yeah. Or maybe something else. Maybe you will find blessing in other things. Maybe you will find blessing in your relationship, for example, or you will find blessing in other form. Maybe you'll have peace within yourself when everyone is stressed, etc., etc. So blessings come in various form. Blessing can be a source of peace around you as well. So it might be like like wherever you're going and you're living, etc., everybody seems to be happy with you, everybody seems to be fine with you. You never get harmed by anybody. Similarly, blessing in the hereafter can come in various forms. It can come in the form of, rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it can come in the form of forgiveness, etc., etc. But one thing I would like to say is that never think that by choosing the halal path, this equal to, how can I say that, to profit all the time. Okay, it can happen that you will make a loss in your investment. It can happen that you are working hard in your job, but your job is halal and everything, but then you're going to lose your job. It can happen. There is no guarantee of that. These are just part of life, right? Life is a cycle, and this cycle, these laws of life, it needs to carry on. Otherwise we would not be you know sent into this world in the first place. We will just all be in paradise. Life is like that. You win sometimes you lose, but always try to please your Creator. Do not look just at the numbers. Even if the numbers look good, yeah, it doesn't mean don't try to make it halal. The problem with many of the people in our community is that when the numbers look good, then they will find every trick of the book to make it halal.
Justify it.
Understand?
It's easy now, Mufti.
Justify.
Mufti. Now it's very easy to say, oh yeah, that's haram. Don't invest in it. But it wasn't easy 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. It wasn't easy then.
It wasn't easy. Exactly. Now this is now something this is the second point I'd like to mention now. Now that one time Wonderland is failing, you will find every enemy of crypto finding ammunition to say, here you go. This is why we say do not invest in crypto. This is why we say crypto is haram, because it's all fake, it's all scams, it's all this. But that is not true as well. That is not true. Not because something is negative, that means you need to apply, a general opinion. Financial Times is, for people who know, Financial Times is a respectful newspaper. This is the only newspaper that I read on finance. This is every day I read Financial Times. And I have noticed the Financial Times when it comes to crypto, and even The Economist. So I have my membership on the Financial Times and The Economist. Financial Times and The Economist are very respectful. And anyone who says something else outside of this newspaper or this magazine, I tend not to follow, because they're not really biased, this sort of newspaper and magazine. And I noticed that when it comes to crypto, they take a very careful approach. So there are times when they're going to criticize. There are some of their columnists that are against crypto, but there are certain things what they say in favor of crypto. You just know that they're not blagging it. And when it comes to crypto, there's something I notice is that many a times that even though they might come across as skeptical about crypto projects most of the time, they will always say that not everything is a scam in crypto. In fact, they have written many times that there's not that many scams on crypto. If you look at the amount of good project and good transaction that's taking place, the scams and the fraud, they're very minimal. They're very minimal. And even the scams, when you look at the numbers and you said, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but if you look at the numbers of scams that's taking place on crypto, it is not always linked to how can I say that, to fake projects. It might be linked to other form of scams, like for example, people pirating your account, for example, or calling you and try to acquire your the address of your wallet, etc., taking over your wallet and stuff like that. This is so when and these many a times they have said that it seems to these are the form of scams that's mainly taking place, as opposed to scams in the terms of project, people creating a project and taking money and running off with it. Although it does happen, but it's not as the way people who are against crypto make it sound like. So this is the second point that
Mhm.
I wanted to say, that not because it has failed that we should be losing trust, and then we think, oh, marhaba is haram and marhaba is this, for example. And I'm talking now in relation to marhaba, that because there are people who will think, okay, it's all a scam and maybe this is what marhaba is up to. No, you shouldn't do that. You need to be objective in life. So yeah, I think okay. So third point I want to mention as well is that again, don't just look at the numbers. When I moved into the UK like over 20 years ago, uh, I remember one of my teacher was saying that in relation to restaurants in the UK, that if the chicken, the meat is too cheap, then assume that it might not be halal. Even if it says halal, assume it might not be halal. Why? Because halal meat is usually more expensive than the haram one. So halal chicken is much more expensive than the haram one, usually because of the work that is behind it. Obviously, that was 20 years ago. Now time has changed, etc. But by default was that if the meat is too cheap, then there's something dodgy around it. And I will say that if the numbers are too good to be true, then A, there must be something dodgy behind it, and two, it might not necessarily be halal in the first place. Because, you know, easy money, there is no such a thing as easy money from an Islamic finance perspective. Usually it doesn't work like that, because to create halal transaction in the first place it is quite complex, especially when it comes to financial affairs. Not talking about buying and selling things here, talking about these financial transaction, these staking and all these things. If you want to create it in a halal manner, it is not that easy to do it usually. So if the numbers don't add up, then there must be something. Either A, number one, it might be dodgy, and B, surely might not be halal. So this is the point that I would like to make. Again, like I said, these are just guidelines. It might not be, how can I say that, a default rule all the time. But from my experience, that's how I have observed so far.
Ahmed,
Amazing,
your
amazing.
your
So
your your thoughts on something that Danielle, the founder, called now is calling an experiment, which he wasn't calling that before. Your thoughts?
before that, I wanted to give 2 points to what the khutbah that Mufti Billal just gave. So first point is, brothers and sisters, please do not forget to donate to the mosque, because this khutbah was amazing. And number two is, do not forget to send Mufti Bilal some USDT to his wallet address. We should link in the description below. If he
Wow,
if he,
wow.
if he said if he told you in time that Time Wonderland is non-permissible and he's helped you save a lot of your funds, maybe you're excluded.
Guys,
Maybe you're
guys, he's
excluded.
clearly
Don't worry.
joking. Just in case, there's always someone who doesn't get a joke. There's always someone. There's always one person. He's clearly joking. Do not send the Mufti any USDT. Send it to me. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Obviously, we don't want any of your USD.
Okay. No, I mean, amazing what Mufti Bilal just said. It's some very valid points. He touched up on a few of the spiritual stuff, but also some of the common sense things. Look into everything in an objective manner, research into it. If it looks legit, look at where those percentages are coming from, who are the back end teams. Like, for example, I'm going to go on a secondary topic, about these recent pump and dumps groups that people are creating, signal pump and dump groups. Um, like, it's objectively and common sensely, when you look at it, you're jumping into something that's shady. So you should be prepared for a scam and all that stuff. So no, I agree with what Mufti Billal said, and a big congratulations to the people who were able to come out in time and were able to make a smart decision with the
Pun
information that we
intended.
give them.
I love what you said, Mufti, and we got to move on. So the last thing I'll say before we move on real quick, that you said it's not always obvious. Like, this was clearly obvious. This was like a message from Allah. Like, to me personally, it was clearly obvious. Like, I already wasn't sure. You made it very clear. I'm like, man, I got to get out. So I was getting out whilst we were talking, and then me and Ahmed talking after. Then I sold it and I got rid of it. And I sold it into a long-term layer one. And it was obvious, right? A good friend of mine yesterday, he's a good friend of mine. This was the barbecue I was at when someone was saying ETH was bad. He kept his, right? And I said to him, I go, man, I told you so, but remember, because he got me into it. I'm like, remember a couple of weeks ago, I did say the Mufti at Merhaba said that. He goes, yeah, I know, you know what I mean? And it's easy now to think about it. So, yeah. Yeah, and too, I was like, and he's a good Muslim brother too. He justified it in his own way, but do you know what I mean? He's one of those guys, Mufti, when you speak about in just that one scenario where he justified it somehow, And then actually, Subhanallah said to me yesterday, because he's still into DAOs, he's a big DAO guy. He said, "Look, I'm gonna watch that episode back. I'm gonna watch the whole thing before I now check out other DAOs." So guys, if you're unsure, definitely 2 weeks ago, you can just find it on the channel. It's TIME Wonderland Halal. And we also did one with the Mufti on Olympus DAO. So please check that out. But I guess this wasn't our feature actually with you today. I guess we should move on to that.
Movie, and if you allow me just 2 minutes, one thing I will say is that, when you're investing in crypto, again, it comes back to what we say most of the time. Learn what you're doing. You need to know what you're doing. Crypto is like stock market. You cannot just put your money in there and then shut your eyes and forget about it. You need to follow. Top investors will follow the news. They need to follow what is happening around the world. Crypto is the same thing. And now it is proven with what's happening with the price of Bitcoin, etc. Everybody is saying now that the price of Bitcoin is moving in the same direction as the stock market. So if the stock market is positive, Bitcoin is reacting in the same manner. You need to know about this thing. I will say it, I do not invest in any crypto. Okay, I don't have time for it. I'm a lazy person. It's not I'm just a lazy. Okay, the one thing I need to know is you need to know what's going on. Bitcoin price, like you mentioned about Putin, for example. Why would all of a sudden Putin is saying mining is fine? There must be something behind it. You need to know what's happening. You need to be able to base your decision on that. Because what Putin is saying is not just out of thin air. Something must have happened. If you follow the news, you will see that just before that, few days before that, somebody from the top regulator, the EU regulator, have said crypto mining should be banned. And then a few days later, Putin is saying crypto mining is something very good. So there must be something. Obviously, there's a whole geopolitics behind it. So you need to follow these things when you go into investment, not just put your money somewhere and then just close your eyes and forget about it. That's not what an investor should be doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, starting with subscribing to our channel. That's what you got to do. With starting with subscribing to our channel.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly, Ahmed. Exactly.
Yes.
So let's move on, Mufti. You had a very, very interesting topic to talk about today. We had a few questions on this. I'm personally, again, the questions we ask you, we also want to know for ourselves. You had a topic. Do you want to talk about it, intro it, and we'll kick that off?
Yeah. So basically, I had to look at Fantom today. One thing I will say though is that internally, Marhaba is in the process of screening Fantom. So whatever I'm going
Awesome.
to say now, if you want to wait for a final decision of the Sharia board on Fantom, you can wait because we're still in the process. So whatever I'm going to be saying now is based on my own initial assessment, which I have been doing. So Fantom basically is a platform, is a smart contract platform where you can basically deploy smart contracts on it, just like what people do on Ethereum. So you can build various dApps on it. I think at the moment there's around 60 or 80 dApps that's been built on Fantom platform. These dApps, they are various. So basically, you have like DEXs, Curve, I think, is built on Fantom. You have also lending and borrowing platform. You have NFT platforms. So there are various dApps that's being built basically on Fantom. Now, to power the network, the Fantom network, they basically have a native token which is called FTM. An FTM token can be either used for staking purposes, or it can be used, for governance purposes, or it can also be used to pay the fees, to pay the network fees. Now, if you look at the platform itself, Fantom platform, it's what we call a generic platform. So you build a platform and it's generic. Whoever is going to come to build the dApp itself can be halal or it cannot be halal, it can be haram. But when you build it, you don't basically care about it. You build something general and people they come and use it
It's a
accordingly.
layer one. Yeah.
Now, exactly. Now, there is nothing wrong with that. Okay, there is nothing wrong with that. And if somebody wants to build, I don't know, an Islamic project on the Fantom blockchain, then it should be perfectly fine. Now, when it comes to staking, obviously we have talked about it before. My position is quite clear. Anything that is generic, yeah, if you can accommodate halal and haram activities on that blockchain, then staking to secure the network is probably not permissible. That is my opinion, anyway. Now, the FTM token itself, if you want to buy and sell it, it should be permissible. There's nothing wrong with it. So if you think that the FTM token has got a certain value, if you're going to hold it, you think the value is going to go up, you want to buy and hold it and sell it later on, is absolutely fine. Can you use the FTM token for other purposes? Again, like for staking, well, I've just mentioned. But if you're going to use it for governance, maybe if it's giving you voting rights, for example, again, if you want to use your FTM tokens to get certain voting rights, then you need to ensure that you're going to vote for things that are Islamically permissible and nothing un-Islamic. So you can't vote, for example, in favor of an interest rise, for example. So you need to be mindful of these things. But Fantom, the FTM token, have can have a certain interaction in the DeFi world as well. Okay, so like for example, there's something called F. Okay, an F mint is basically where you mint, how do you call it, FTM token for FUSD. Okay, now if you're going to mint FTM tokens for FUSD, essentially what you're doing is you're borrowing FUSD. Okay, so you are locking your FTM tokens. Okay, and in return, they give you FUSD. Now, do that. What happened is that you have to pay a transaction fee at the beginning, at the minting. Well, basically, at the time of doing the mint process, not when you repay the debt. So you put your FTM token as collateral, you get FUSD. When you do that, you pay a transaction fee. Now, later on, when you repay, the FUSD and you want to unlock, your FTM tokens, you don't pay nothing. But I personally believe that this service fee that you pay right at the beginning, I personally feel that this is akin to interest. Okay, so therefore, minting would not be permissible. This is my initial assessment. Okay, so this is for FMint. Then you have, okay, you can also lend your FUSD. So if you have acquired FUSD, what are you going to do with the FUSD? So you can lend it as well. So you can lend it and earn interest, and that would be haram. So if you're going to lend FUSD or lend FTM, so there's something called FLend. So we have FMint, FLend, and if you're going to lend FTM or FUSD and earn interest, that is not permissible. However, there is something where I read is that where you can lend on the liquidity pool, okay, and earn interest. Now we have spoken about it before that when people are talking about lending to a liquidity pool and earning interest, it is not always what we know as lending and earning interest. It is basically providing liquidity to a pool, and the pool do transaction. It's locked on a smart contract, and all these transactions that's taking place, the fees that basically that's being earned on that pool is redistributed to the liquidity provider. And if that's the case, that is permissible, that is not lending, but you have to ensure that you are trading Sharia compliant tokens all the time. Because if you're trading non-Sharia compliant tokens, then earning the fee, the transaction fee, will not be permissible. So maybe the liquidity pool on Fantom might be permissible. I tried to look into it in details to get a definite answer, but I couldn't. There was still information missing. But maybe, as I said, this is a big maybe for liquidity pool, because there's a contradiction here. I read the information about liquidity pool as we know it, as you know, like where we say it is permissible, there is no real lending involved. But at the same time, if you go on the Fantom website, they tell you that you're actually lending and earning interest. So we need a bit more details about it, whether there is a lending activity or maybe it's two different activities that we don't know about. I'm not sure. Then you have also, so we have FMIN, FLEND, and then you have FSwap. Okay. Now, FSwap is basically you trade, your FTM token, for example, for synthetic assets. Okay. Now, as far as I understand how synthetic assets work, I do not think that synthetic assets are permissible because you're not really owning the underlying derivative, the underlying asset. Sorry. So I just like you have the synthetics protocol, where I think in the past I might have mentioned that these synthetic assets, they're not permissible. Similarly, I think on FTM, synthetic assets work in a similar way, and therefore they're not permissible. So you shouldn't use the FSwap either. Again, if you want to provide liquidity to the liquidity pool, if I go back to again, you must use FSwap. So you need to use your FTM to swap it to WFTM.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting.
Oh, we lost the Mufti. Okay, 1 second. So, okay, we got you back.
Yes. I don't know, is that me or you guys?
I don't know what happened there. We heard you talking and it stopped.
Me out? Yeah. He's fed up with me. Anyway,
Now continue.
so where
Yeah,
do I
you're
need to
talking
go
about the
back to?
swap.
Yeah, so FSwap, yeah.
Yeah.
So as I was saying, so for FSwap, to use, you need to use FSwap to actually get wrap FTM. So then only you'll be able to use liquidity pool. So this is something as well I was really not sure about. In any cases, in a nutshell, FTM token, yes, you can buy and sell it, but to use it in the DeFi world, whether it is for FMint, not permissible. FMIN not permissible. Anything to do with lending and earning interest is not permissible. Maybe the liquidity pool we're not sure about, so stay away from it until we get confirmation of that. And for the FSwap, in order to trade synthetic assets are not Sharia compliant, therefore stay away from it as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it in regards to
Okay,
Fantom.
so holding is okay. if you're holding it for long term.
Buying and holding the FTM token is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Yes,
But yeah, no, I love how
Yeah.
you
So
said too that Marhaba is still doing a screening on it, and things can change quite quickly in the crypto space. So that's obviously a
definitely. Yeah.
key benefit of the Sahal wallet, which we're all
so
excited.
this
Yes,
is fan,
because
this is
if you look at what FTM has said, is that even on their website, there was something initially. When it comes to FMINT, they were talking about liquid. What do you call it? How do you say that in English? So basically when you put your collateral, and if there is not enough collateral, they liquidate. Okay, the
Liquidate.
liquidation process. Okay, so initially they were talking about liquidating. Okay, but then what happened is people told them, I mean their customers told them that you have named this process as liquidating, but this is not what's happening here. It is called rebalancing. So then they made an announcement that we will not be using the word liquidating anymore. We will use the word rebalancing because this is what is happening. So things can change very easily. And again, it shows that sometimes even the developers, when they're writing something, I really wonder whether they actually understand everything that they're writing or not. So that's why it comes back to the liquidity pool. They mention about lending and earning interest when it comes to liquidity pool. Is this what's really happening? I do not know. It is I don't know. So that's why I'm saying for the liquidity pool as well, just stay away from it until
Be
you know for
safe.
sure.
Awesome.
Be safe,
Fantastic.
yes.
We'll definitely do. It's been a few weeks since I did some analysis on some charting on Fantom, so we'll definitely do that again. So guys, definitely stay tuned, subscribe, like, let us know what else you want to look at, because also I'm going to go back to a deep dive on Cosmos Hub next week as well. Okay, anything else you want to add on that, Mufti or Ahmed, before we move off?
no. I
No.
mean, there's nothing that I could add on top of that. I what I can see is that the comments coming in. So is it halal or not? The people who haven't read any of it or heard any of it just skip, looking for the yes or no, the fatwa. But you guys are talking about how Marhaba is going to be doing a full analysis and it will be available on the Sahal wallet and all that stuff. So that is a perfect merge towards my section. So what is going
One
on with
one thing,
Marhaba?
just one thing, Ahmed, if you allow me, just one thing, few seconds,
For sure.
just to remind people, is that when Marhaba says a token is halal, it might not mean that everything that is happening on the platform is halal. So if tomorrow we say, for
Hmm.
example, like I said to you, FTM token, absolutely fine to buy and sell. It doesn't
Hmm.
mean you can go and do F mint with it. You can mint it for FUSD, right? It's like with any money. If I say to you, US dollar is halal for you to buy to use as a medium of exchange, it doesn't mean you take the dollar and then you go buy drugs with it, right?
Hmm.
So that you people need to pay attention to this. And sometimes I'm scared that people don't pay attention to this. And Ahmed, I'm sure you will update people that now we started to release the banners as well about the screening that
Hmm.
we do. Always pay
Hmm.
attention to what's written on the banner, because we might say a token is halal. It doesn't mean everything on the platform is halal. What we mean is to buy and
Sheikh,
sell the token. That's not what we mean.
on a more personal level, in Deen, is the onus on the ulama to make sure that the other people concentrate, or is the onus on the people to make sure that they concentrate themselves and read every single detail from even that banner?
No, it's on the people. That's why we write the details on there,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
So, guys,
That's how
do listen fully, read fully, be confident in your head and your heart before you make a decision. Fantastic. Mufti Bilal, thank you so much for your time. As always,
no worries. Take
super
care, guys.
valuable. I just want to thank you and take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
Assalamualaikum.
salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Take care, guys.
Amazing, amazing. All right, guys. So what's going on with Marhaba? A lot of things are actually going on. We so a lot of people have been saying, in the Telegram chat, where's the communication? Where's this? Where's that? So what we actually did was in January, sorry, in December, in for our IDO and our initial launch of Souk NFT, we did a big bang. December was a lot of activity, a lot of things were happening, a lot of sleepless nights. So we did that month very very hype. We took January as a form of seeing how the market behaves, and obviously it was a red market, so we had to be a little bit more patient because regardless of any form of, marketing engagement, anything we did, the market was down. The liquidity of the market is not there, so there's people not going to invest. Simple. So we took this month as a form of data and understanding and analysis to iterate and reiterate for the next upcoming things. So inshallah, the month of February is a power punched month. So in this episode, I'm not gonna give you guys exact dates, but I will be giving you guys some exciting stuff. First news: exchanges are finalized. I can't tell which one, what date. All that stuff is going to be coming out soon. So exciting stuff there. Sahal wallet is going to be also coming out very soon. I'll mention a few major key features of Sahal wallet in this first version, and then there's going to be a few versions after as things improve and we add new features. So with this current launch, you're going to have the ease of buying Marhaba token directly on the Sahal wallet using your fiat money. So you can use your credit card and you'll be able to buy Marhaba tokens. Um, so there's that first huge feature, make your everybody's life easier because I know some people have a difficulty connecting through Pancake Swap and MetaMask and Trust Wallet to buy the tokens.
Mm.
So that's huge. Obviously you guys know about the halal token list. The halal token list has been extended than just, we were thinking initial x amount. Now there's more than just that x amount, so that's pretty exciting because we believe that it will bring more value, and if we have the time, why not increase that list.
So Ahmed, can I ask a
Next.
question just on the because it's
Yeah.
an interesting one for me as well. So obviously, the idea that you can have halal tokens and you have the list in the Sahal wallet is just amazing. What about cross chain though? Like, is this only going to be BSC compatible tokens? What if there's like a AVAX token that is not on the Sahal wallet? You understand what I'm asking?
Not not this version. You're kind of talking about version 2. So in this version, our main focus, so there will be other tokens in there. It's just you won't be able to do as much complex things as you would have been able to
Mm.
with our fully cross-chain wallet
But if Phantom is, for
availability.
example, firstly, I guess which chains will be, if you know, and if you don't, we can always come back next episode and give people more information. Firstly, what chains will
Mhm.
be, and secondly, like what about like a Phantom, for example, right? So if a Phantom is
Mhm.
halal, which the Mufti has preliminary told us it is, do you see that on the list? And B, can you bring it into your Sahal wallet?
Um, all the stuff will be version 2. Which cross chains which have been agreed upon, that's still in discussion. And so I can't finalize anything right now, but I know for sure BSC and ETH is very common, so you guys can
Right,
expect that for sure.
ERC20 and
But
BSC tokens. Yeah.
we have been looking at stuff like Algorand, and all these other things. So there's a lot of discussion, but in regards to finalizations, yes, there are other cross chains that have been finalized, and there's some that are still in the progress of being discussed and stuff. And as we move along, obviously those and that information will come out for sure. So there's the tokens, the fiat based transactions to buy Marhaba tokens, and then there's also the swap feature. So you can swap between different tokens for sure. As we move along, we were actually finalizing version two's details. So I wish I could tell you guys, but there's so much exciting things from it, and there's things that are going to be a part of Sahal Wallet which aren't part of any wallet as we see right now, because we know the pain points from using Trust Wallet, from using MetaMask, from using other non-custodial wallets, and so we're trying to see how we can fix those pain points within this wallet. So there's things that are very simple, but there's also things simple, but they fix a huge pain point. But then and then there's things that are very complex, and that fix a huge pain point. So exciting things that are be coming out. Souk NFTs version 2 is out, which means there's been changes made, there's been upgrades made. It's faster, it's a little bit more efficient. And you guys can see literally within 1 month we had version 2 come up. There's not a lot of projects that do this. So when we talk about there's a lot of work that being done in the background, there truly is a lot of work being done in the background. And so check out version 2. It's up, it's live, and just mint, honestly, just mint a token. Just sorry, mint an NFT. Take any picture. Take your high school's most embarrassing picture and make an NFT out of it, and just see how the experience is, and let us know how the experience is for sure. Also, okay, there. IFG event. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know, but if you guys follow us on social media, IFG Islamic Finance Guru will be holding InvestQuest in the upcoming month, February 11th, and you can expect to see Marhaba there for sure. So we are one of the we are the ones representing crypto, and obviously these partnerships are very strong, and we're trying to use our all of our umbrellas to make sure we are there for the community, and involving you guys in almost everything we do. So check out that event also, and see if it's something that you guys want to get involved with also. Other than that, there's no other major upcoming update for now. There is our every Monday weekly calls on Telegram. This upcoming Monday, which is in the next 2 days, or the next one day, we'll be having a live call where you can ask me any of your questions, ask the tech team any of your questions, and we also sometimes have the Sharia team to ask questions. So do come out to those there on our Telegram, and there will be rewards. There'll be prizes for all of those for these voice chats. So start looking into that. Um, yeah, and if you guys have any more questions about Marhaba, do put them in the comments. Anything from your regards, Moby, that I should maybe cover, or anything that I may have missed?
No, not at all. A really, really good show. Exciting show. We spoke about so much. The fact that we covered time and Fantom and all the exciting sort of things coming. So yeah, just do your research. Not financial advice, but Marhab's looking really, really strong right now. Yeah,
Mhm.
exciting stuff. Nothing more to add.
Yeah, and if you guys are wondering, we've been running tag finders and seeing from marketing perspective from in Marfa, just trying to give you guys a little bit insight, and you'll see just such a MRHB DeFi, search a halal finance or something like that, or halal crypto, and you'll see we're there. And there's a lot of influencers on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook that are talking about us. So we're thankful to all the influencers. If you guys are watching this show, keep doing it. Reach out to us and ask us if there's anything that we can provide you in the sense of like documentation, updates, about the projects and the products. If you want us to make you banners or something, let us know. So thank you guys if you guys are making some content about us. I thank myself also sometimes because I make it on my personal channel. But yeah, that's the update from our side. Any ending points from your side, Moby? If not, let's finish this show
Yeah,
off.
all good, man. All I'll say is like I'm really glad to see there's iron in the back, in the room that you're in. It's good to see you iron your own clothes. It makes
Oh,
for a really good eligible bachelor. So women want to see that, and I'll make sure that's in frame as well. That Ahmed Jawa irons his own clothes. You know what I mean? So women, look out. You know.
I honestly thought it was out of the frame. What? Oh, you know what? I can't see that exact area. There's like that little settings. Oh, forget it, guys. It was a phenomenal show. Thank you so much for watching. As always, keep coming, keep joining, keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing. Let's grow this channel too. We're almost at 3,000. Let's keep sharing it with your family and friends. There's so much valuable things that are coming here. Honestly, um, Moby brings a huge amount of information, and this guy is working super busy. He's a head of a company. So, and if he's giving us this time, we need to obviously share and all that stuff. I'm me is me. So don't worry about that. Mufti Blah is super
Too
busy, so
humble.
if he's giving us that hour, so we honestly share this with your friends and family because it's a lot of value that's coming for free. And we want to see that love, we want to see that growth, we want to see that engagement from your side also, inshallah. So for sure, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, check us out on our other social media, Telegram and everything. Other than that, take care of yourself, wear your mask, stay protected. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.